I'm ready for success. I am success. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. Hello and welcome to another edition of A Lot of Help. I am your host, James Lott Jr. And yes, I am ready for success. That is my own song that's out right now called I Am Ready. It's everywhere where you can find songs, on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon. It's everywhere. It's my first single. I'm working on an album of conscious dance music. That's what I call it, you guys. So it is out there, motivating me, gets me ready every morning. I love it. And I have a really great guest for you guys today. Let me read his long list of accomplishments, because they are there. The first African-American teacher of the year, and I believe it's in Indiana, correct?
Yes.
Educator of the year. He's a pastor. He's a life coach. Businessman of the year. He is somebody who's written several books. He has one book out that's out right now, Bumblebees Can Fly. Love that title. Developing the inherent power in young men of color needed to achieve an education and succeed in life. Say that 5 times fast, but I completely believe in that. He's in Indiana. He's founded the Cornerstone Christian Worship Center. He's here for our black males, which is something I really want to talk about because, first of all, I'm a black male, but I really want to talk about that. And just esteemed honor to have Dr. Oscar Underwood, PhD. How are you, Doctor?
I am well, James. Thanks for inviting me today.
This is going to be great. Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in. So the first thing I want to tell you, kind of share with you, is I have grown daughters, but then I gained grandchildren. So they're my first males kind of in my family for me, besides my brothers, to actually kind of be able to be there for. And my oldest grandson just turned 18 and graduated high school. And so for me, my daughters, it was a different time when they were 18, and then certainly back in the 80s when I was turning 18, it was a very different time period. But there's like just one thing that's still a constant, and that is our black and brown men, young men, having issues. And I feel like that has not gone away. Like, that's still there. And in some cases it's gotten better, and in some cases it's gotten worse. But I feel like when I find out people like you are out there trying to basically, illuminate our sons and try to show them that it's not dead in the water. This is just like, oh well, you're black and you're a man. Oh well, good luck. Like, you're saying no. There's hope. There's chance. There's real change. And your book felt like that's what you were basically trying to say. Let me show you the way to empower yourselves. That's kind of, and I thought I really applaud you for that.
I thank you for that, and you know what? It is so encouraging to me to talk with you because you get it. James, I'm in the second print of Bumblebees Can Fly because when I wrote it the first time, I shared a whole lot, but in the process since the first printing, I've discovered even greater passion and greater clarity that I knew I needed to get out, and everything you've said is so true. And so what I realized now, and I'm making abundantly clear in the second print, the second edition, which will come out in the fall, is that normally, and especially as we're targeting young men of color, and that means middle-aged men of color, more senior men of color, such as myself, that regardless how much success we might have achieved or what we didn't achieve, what I have discovered, James, is that normally it is what is not known that is the thing that holds us back in areas where we could have lived and experienced great potential, realization of great potential. And so when I've gone back and reread the book over and over again, from the beginning to the end, it was an anecdotal record of not only myself but many young men of color.
Yes.
That I grew up with, my brothers, my fathers, my friends, those who made it, those who didn't. And James, what I had seen, and I've got 4 girls also, and my first experience with males was with my grandson.
Oh, how funny.
Um,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and what I've seen though, it is we know that there's adversity, and this is what greatest revelations for me. What I didn't, what I realized, James, but I don't know if so many of us, if I did as good of a job the first time in explaining over and over and hammering away that we know that young men of color face great challenges, great adversity. We know there's a legacy of men of color in this nation from its inception facing. Women of color also, but our conversation today is concerning men of color, young men of color.
Yeah.
That there's a historical precedent for men of color, young men of color in particular, facing great adversity. But what is not known that I want to hammer out, James, is that what we need to know is that psychological research and even life experiences have demonstrated that where there's great adversity, there is resulting great resiliency. And so like yourself, like me, like many others. I mean, like Tyler Perry sleeping in the car. I mean, like so many people. So many people, but we're all people. But we're talking about those who face the greater dimensions of adversity, such as young men of color. Let's not begin to expect the resiliency and begin to mature the resiliency, begin to use the resiliency. Yeah, I went through this. Okay, where am I going as a result of it?
Oh, I love it. I love it. No, that's the thing. Because you're right. Well, as black people in general, we're resilient. We're resilient people. We have proven that for hundreds of years, especially through slavery and all that stuff. We have proven that we can do it. We've proven it in the 50s and 60s with all the civil rights and arrests and everything. We have proven we are a resilient race. But like I said, today's conversations about young black men, young men of color, women. Yes, they have their own stuff too, and some of it's similar. But I always feel like, because being a man, being male, is a whole other animal. First of all, anyway, no matter what the color is, being male, society puts on all these different things. Being a black male, there's a whole other society puts all kinds of stuff on that too, and also being a black male from black women. From white people, from Hispanic, there's all these views are put on us from young children up until adulthood that we have to kind of navigate through, right? And so, and we're pretty, well, many of us are resilient. Some of us aren't. Some of us aren't resilient. Many of us are resilient through that too and make it through, but some aren't. That's the problem. Some men fall under. They fall. They cave in because it's too much.
Yes, and you know, James, you and I, and none of us can change. We're not responsible for shaping others' perceptions. We can try, such as enlightening them through our experiences and what you're doing, through your work. But we must take ownership of our own perceptions. I mean, instead of waiting around or passing on a legacy like to our grandsons and our great grandsons and those who are even not by blood related to us, we need to pass on a legacy of hope and empowerment. That this stuff happens. It's historically documented. That it's been going on a long time, and there's no place in the future where all of a sudden it's the trend data is going to say it's going to be different. But what can change the results is our perceptions of the fact that we need to now look at this adversity and the anger, the disappointment, the setbacks, and begin to understand that within us, God has placed a power, an inherent power, which is also which births inherent resiliency that cause us to get up if the need to get back up is greater than the need to just lay down and just take it. That we can get back up and do improve. And we like with me, I discovered early in life that when people told me I couldn't accomplish something, then I had an obligation to prove them wrong. That's how I have this school for 26 years. That's how these kids are all over the world doing the marvelous things. That's the ministry of the church. That's the books. Because I was told very, very young that I was given doubt as to what I could not accomplish. And there was something in me, and I now realize that it was my inherent power that God had placed in me to actualize and to manifest that which he had purposed and ordained, that I do. But it's in all of us.
Mm-hmm. It's funny when you. Okay, here's the thing. This I love this because you are a pastor also. And here's the thing. For me, it took me 40 years to get to where I am at now. 10 years in now, but it took me 40 years,
Yeah.
and I'm. Like I say, everything's always on time, right? God comes on time, and whatever.
Right,
but
right.
but once I started to talk to Him, and when I say Him, I say God. When I talk to Him, and when I start making my intentions clear, and realized and undid all that talk that I got also back in the day. Well, James, you're a good customer service person. You should probably just do retail, or James, you'd be really good as you're good as a personal assistant. You shouldn't be a producer and head of your own your own network. But that's crazy. I would hear all that stuff. I undid all that, got clear in my intention, talked to Him. I swear to everything that I have, life has gotten better and the path has opened up, and I've had these amazing opportunities, like talking to you. I have these amazing opportunities that it really does work. Like, this is no joke. Dr. Underwood is not telling you something that's not true. This stuff really is, there is an inherent power that each of us has. Right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, James. His fingerprint, DNA is in us. There is something that they placed in us in order for us to come through the worst of times. In other words, James, as I said yesterday in the Word, that through Him and our faith in Him, we can come through hell and not be able to smell the smoke.
Right,
right. We know we were there, James.
Yes.
but we came through it, and we look
Yes.
at ourselves and our ladder, and as opposed to the former things that we had to go through, and we see nothing but the miracles that His grace has manifested in our lives. And then we realize, my brother, okay, now that I know this, what am I obligated to do?
Yes.
Pass it on like what you're doing.
Yes.
What I'm doing. Pass it on.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, all we've got left, my brother, is what's inside of us, what He gave us.
That's true.
And He didn't give it to us just for us. He gave it to us as we discovered the incredible nature and essence of it, that we leave this place better than we found it.
Oh my God, Dr. Underwood, especially I have 2 TV shows I do too, and I have one on Black Hollywood Live that I call Breaking Into, that I talk to all the time. And I always tell the viewers, they know this about me. I said, I want to bring back the village mentality. I want to bring back, we come from cultures in Africa where the village worked together. The elders worked with the younger people in the middle. Everybody worked together to create this big community. And I said, if somehow we got to America and we lost that somehow. Now it's all every man for themselves. And I work in Hollywood, so it's always like there's one spot for that one black person. Now go for it. And we're knocking each other over to get to that one spot. But I'm saying, why are we listening to them? Why are we making... I always say, if we got together for real, as a people, if we really got together, oh my God, watch out. The world just have to watch out. Right? I mean, it's crazy.
You're on top of it. It's absolutely correct. I don't know if I bet this was the case for you as a child. It was certainly the case for me. My parents, my mom was 16 when I was born, and my dad that raised me, was my dad. They were busy working.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They didn't worry about it because everybody on the block,
yes,
every adult on the block was a parent.
Yes. I remember you could not. These kids say, "You're not my father. You're not my mother. You can't talk." If I said it to anybody on the block, they had permission to smack me in the mouth, first of all, or they tell my parent. And you still got in trouble. Like any adult that was within a 2-mile radius was watching over you and watched what you did. And I miss that on some level. Like I miss it.
Yeah, and our kids need it. The world today needs it. And in many ways you and I are stepping up to the plate, and others, Black Lives Matter and others are trying to fill that gap and letting them know where that psychological divide is there in them, where perception is causing them to underestimate and go through life dealing with adversity, not knowing that God placed the answer in the problem, and not knowing that He had already created through His grace the bounce back before we even realized we had the setback. Our ancestors, our grandparents and grandmoms and granddads dads, our aunts and uncles, they had it. Dr. King had that. Rosa Parks had that. Frederick Douglass had that. They had that. It's in us. It's in all people. But we're talking about the people of color, and in particular, young men of color, who in many areas of life have been targeted as an endangered species.
Yes.
It's there.
Yes.
But now, what are we going to do, James? I mean, we can't depend on this on the schools to change everything.
No.
We've got to tell them what's in them.
Yes, and here's funny. My grandmother came from Louisiana with her 5 sons, dirt poor. Came to L.A. They say took a train with fried chicken and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Came to L.A. Stayed in the church. Stayed in the back of his church and whatever for a while. So she was able to get a place to live and work as maids and janitors at places. That's how she worked. So I saw hard work growing up. And each of her sons, all my uncles, my father, they're all successful. They're all very successful.
Yes.
But I saw that. I get to see that and see. But then in some cases though. Yeah, I saw a few of them fell short in the personal apartments here and there, but that back then, as you were saying, they were busy trying to find ways. I mean, again, we're talking the 60s and 70s, they're trying to find their way anyway. So now we have to still break that cycle and still, and like you and I, show them hard work does work off. Show them that there are powerful black men in various industries that are out there doing great work, and that you too can do the same thing, and that we can show them the love they may not get at home. There's some people who never heard the word "I love you." They never hear it ever. They never hear it.
Oh man, come on.
They never hear it.
And especially, I mean, not only our daughters, but also, man, I realize the necessity of making sure my grandsons. I mean, my grandson has no problem, and my great grandson either. At his young age, they know their granddad loves them.
Same here.
And they're used to the hugs. They're used to the fact they can't go through life and say, "My granddad never kissed me."
That's right.
My dad, I have kissed them on their forehead. I have hugged them. They are strong young men because of the fact, James, we needed it too. Men love it. We came from love. God is love.
Yes.
Love is. I mean, I watch other cultures. Their fathers with their sons. They understand that affection is not a good thing; it's a necessary thing.
Yes.
I mean, how else are you going to stay strong from the inside out? And life is inside out. What's going on the inside is going to manifest the reality of the world that you live in.
I agree completely, and it also helps being when men are affectionate and showing love, then they can show love to women. They can show love to kids. They can show love to animals. They can show love to their jobs. They can show love to themselves. That's the message, right?
Absolutely,
I mean,
sir. Our prototype, God, the ultimate Father, Abba Father, is love. God is love. He chose the most adequate way to express himself and explain himself to those who don't know him. God is love. And his son came to connect us back to that reality of his love so that we don't have to go looking everywhere else for it. But when we realize and find it on the inside of us, James, then that strength begins to mature in us, and we're strong enough, as Dr. King said in one of his great writings, The Strength to Love. We discover the strength to go ahead and love. And it transforms, it changes.
let me ask you a kind of a side question. This is a little off. Well, it's still topic, but off topic. I'm James Lott Jr. I'm a junior. My father's very powerful. He's created a really big career for himself. You're a junior also, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a junior.
So I always ask people who are juniors or the thirds. I always ask them, what is it like for you being a junior? Did you feel like you had to I had to really carve a niche for myself, kind of out from underneath my father, because I wanted to be I wanted my own man. So I mean, how was it for you?
Sir. You know, James, mine is similar but different. Your father was able. I mean, he was very successful. My father was successful in the work with his hands that he did, and he was a very proud man. I think there was a time in my dad's life, because my dad that raised me took pride in everything that I ended up doing once he realized, what he was raising. And, I mean, when I started getting those awards, like at 13 years of age, and like chosen the first African American youth mayor for the city of Portland. brain. When he looked at me at 13, I remember looking in his eyes, James. I saw this thing in his eyes like, who is this young man that I'm raising? Now, when I met my natural dad at 22 after I graduated and I become a teacher, and I met him, and I found him in Pittsburgh. I found him, and I met him. I'm from Alabama. I came to Indiana when I was 5. Once my dad met me, it's like the rest of his life, even up until 2013 when he transitioned to heaven at age 86 years of age. He would lament to me that he felt cheated, that he did not get to contribute to who I was.
Wow.
That he felt like if my mom had waited for him longer, he would have come back to Alabama and would have gotten her, and then he could have taken the credit and said that he said, I can't even tell anybody I spanked you. He said, I feel like I was cheated because he saw all that God, that in me, James, but he knew it was him. He's my father.
Right.
I mean, he gives us the blood.
Right.
It was in him that was passed on to me, but he had no idea that he was birthed in that kind of greatness.
Wow, that's very interesting statement. That's very interesting. Because my father, he was in my life, in my life here and there, but I mean he was still in my life most of my life. And I know for me it was very much like, oh, I'm a junior. I kept telling him I want to make the name strong. I kept telling him as a kid. We used to laugh about that all the time. I was like, they used to call me little old man when I was a kid. I'm more youthful now than I ever have been. It's kind of funny how that happens once you free your mind. But I was a kid. I wanted to be I was like being strong. I wanted to make it, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make the name really strong, and I'm gonna be James Lott Jr. and I'm gonna make it. It's like this whole thing. It was kind of funny, and now we both have our own successful lives, and it's fine. It's kind of great, but I always like to ask people who are named after somebody, because a lot of people who aren't named after somebody do not understand. I mean, there's a whole. I mean, you have your own name. It's yours.
Sure.
You don't have that any stigma or anything of having to share a name with somebody. Like, it's your own thing. So we're in a kind of our own little club of those of us who are named after someone, and it could mean many different things to us. So I just kind of want to bring that up. I like your whole thing about. Go ahead. Please go ahead. Just
inject something else there out of honor to my dad. My dad, I was 5, and he raised me. When James, at 22, when I met my natural father, my birth father, and this is what happened. When my first teaching assignment, I had to, in order for my benefits, I had to produce my birth certificate. I had never seen my birth certificate.
Wow.
So I had to send to Alabama, Montgomery, and get my birth certificate. When it came back, I was really upset because I saw that my name was not Dowdell, which I was raised as Oscar Dowdell, which was my dad's name that raised me.
Yeah.
I saw that my name was not that, and so I was hurt. And I asked my mother and my father, I said, how come my name here is not my dad's name, Dowdell? And they had to tell me that I was never adopted. I was not his biological child, but that I was his kid, that they intended to do it over the years. They never did. Well, my father, my birth father, felt he had been cheated enough, so he said I needed to keep his name, Underwood. And so this is what I did, James. That's why my name is Oscar J. Dowdell.
I saw that. I did see that.
I put the Dowdell in there. I have to honor the man who looked at me with tears in his eyes 3 years before he left here. He came to my office, and he was normally not affectionate. He walked over to my desk, and he rubbed the side of my face. And I looked up astonished because my dad was like, he didn't do that. There were tears in his eyes. And I looked at him, I said, what's wrong? He said, boy, you have made me so proud. And James, when I think about that fact that he felt he deserved the credit.
Okay.
And I honor him by wearing his name, James.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, okay, blood is thicker than water, but love is thicker than blood.
Okay. Thank you. I agree with that.
When we got love and blood both together, James, that's the thing, man, that's going to make the whole difference. But if the blood ain't there, James, let's continue to make sure the love is.
You know, that's the statement because that's the statement for the week. I love it because that is something that I agree with. I mean, I have godsons and some people that that are in my life that, yeah, we're not by blood, or they're not related to me, but they're my kids. I mean, they're my kids. They're people that
Come on, sir.
it's like, and I'm here because that's most important thing. Children want to know that they're loved and that they're looked at. I always feel like those are two basic things they want to know. And so it doesn't matter if it's biological or just be through marriage or it's a family friend, whatever. And men need strong men in their lives. I don't care where it comes from. I don't care where it comes from.
Yes, sir.
Don't care. It could be a
Yes,
distant
sir.
cousin. It could be a teacher at school. Whatever. Whoever comes to you, it could be a coach. Whoever comes into your life as a strong male. And I've had some strong men. That's what's helped me over the years. I have had some strong. I still have some strong male mentors now, and that's why I'd like. Or just to go back to something you said earlier. You said that your book, after you reread it, you made some changes and some updates. To me, that's a sign of a person who understands that education never really ends. And you weren't just like, the book's done and that's perfect and life goes on. You're like, no, there's stuff that I need to update. There's stuff, I learned some more things about myself while looking at my book. That to me is a sign of a person who doesn't, the circle just continues. And I think all those things show our young men that we aren't these obstinate, stuck, men, that life does, the hope and promise continues throughout the rest of our lives till we're gone. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what happened with me. And what I'm discovering, and I know you are too, that the thing that keeps me youthful is the fact that I know there's still so much in me that doesn't belong to me that I need to share.
Yes.
And in order to share it, I need to keep learning. Like today with you, this has been so exhilarating for me. It's like I've met a brother that was a brother to me that I knew he was.
I agree.
Somewhere.
I totally agree. I totally agree. We're related now. I totally agree.
The time hadn't come for us to connect.
No.
But God has done this now. And it's like, okay, in talking to you, I've learned even more about myself and about the journey. To be transparent with you today in the audience about my father, those are things, man, I used to cry about.
Yeah.
And I can now share it in order that somebody else be helped, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it blessed me, bro.
Yeah, you and I, we aren't done. No, our association ain't over. This is just the beginning. We ain't done just yet.
I believe that.
And I'm a big fan. I got family all up and through the Midwest. I was just in Ohio like a month ago, so I'm like, I know Indiana, I know Ohio. I have a home in Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh. I mean, trust me, I know all. You're not getting rid of me. You're not getting rid of me anytime soon. I'm gonna come see you in Fort Wayne.
I love it, bro.
I'm gonna see you in Fort Wayne.
Same for your Indiana brother, bro.
That's right. We're not done at all. We're gonna work it out. But no, yeah, and that's what I'm hoping that the listeners who listen to this, that's what they get, because I call myself the connector, and anything that I do, I have books, I have my new songs, I have radio shows, TV shows. I like to connect people with ideas, people, places, and things, and I think this is something that I feel like for our young men, back to our young men of color, and just men of color in general, we do have a power, and we need to illuminate it, figure out what it is that we can do to add to it, and to the community. And your books have done that, and your teachings have done that. But this Bumblebees Can Fly book, I mean, how did it first germinate? How did it come to you at first to write this book?
Because when I was teaching a lesson, I'll never forget this. It was a science lesson to the 4th or 5th grade class that I had for a little bit that day. Even though normally I spend time mostly with my high school students, but I was teaching them on the bumblebee and the fact that according to natural law and physical law that we never question, it's not supposed to be doing and thriving the way it does because of its big body and its very, very small wings. But it flies because what's in it is programmed to fly. What's in it is greater than the adversity and the challenges even in natural law. Wow. And the Lord said to me, James, he said to me this. He said, look back over the years at the young men that have come out and the young ladies that have come out of this school and are doing incredible things, that they come in and people say they change, they transform like so quickly. He said, because the same thing I placed in the bumblebee, I placed in humanity.
I've never thought of it before. You're right. Isn't that funny how an idea was sparked by something just like that, like a bee. Aside the anatomy of a bee is what led to. And I mean, that is amazing. I never thought. I mean, yeah, I guess they are kind of weird body though. They should be able to fly. I mean, and we need bees. That's the whole thing. We need bees. We need young black men. We know it's like
Come
same
on.
thing.
Absolutely. It's not supposed to have been flying, but been flying for eons because God said you will fly.
Yeah.
He programmed us on the inside to say we're going to fly, called destiny and called potential and it's called bounce back.
Wow.
And we've been experiencing that change and didn't know what it was and didn't know there was more there, yet in us.
That's so true. And it's funny because, like I said, some things have changed, some things haven't. I feel like many of and sometimes I understand why, depending on where you're living, where you're coming from, they don't see hope. It's very much this thing of the slave mentality is still in there. We're having to untangle that still. Hundreds of years later, we're having to untangle the slave mentality, but now it's in our brain. I mean, it's all about mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about mindset, right?
Yes, absolutely it is. And that's why it's so important, as Dr. King said, that we don't forget our history, because when we don't know the past, we really abandon the future. There's lessons and the resiliency that they discover that's able to unlock the resiliency in us. And this is good. This is good. And I keep thinking about your song. And I was listening to it, that you've decided that you're going to succeed today. Mm-hmm. I want that for my kids. When I get back with you, you tell me, I think you said it's on iTunes.
It's on everywhere. It's on iTunes everywhere. You can have a dance version, a remix, a regular version. Please, please.
I want to get that for the kids. I want our choir, the kids choir, the high school choir, C-Prep's choir to sing that song, man. It's okay with you. Oh my God! Make sure you send me a video or a recording, whatever. I would love that. Listen,
I wrote the lyrics. Here's talk about divine intervention. It came to me in 15 minutes. So I'm in the studio and I'm sitting down. I'm telling you, I tell people, I always make jokes. I'm an old person. I totally decided I'm gonna have a recording career. I decided I'm gonna do it. And I've always written. I'm a writer, so I have books, and I've always done spoken word stuff. But I said I want to write some positive, conscious dance music. That was completely my goal. But then you never know what you're going to. You sit down. I'm in the studio with producers. We're like, they're like, James, just let it come through you. No, you can't force it. Let it come through you. This was the first song that I wrote, and I've written many songs since then. But this is the first song that I wrote. It came to me in 15 minutes. I spoke it out first, and then my producer that worked with me on it, Palms, was like, well, I think I have music for it. And the music, again, it was God working. The music was perfect. Then he started remixing my voice. And then we get back in the studio and did my voice to it. And it just came together. And it's funny, I released it and people are always like, it's motivational. Oh my God, I love this. It's my first time doing it. Again, just following your dreams. But I wanted a song that would resonate with people, that was something just positive. And I'm so proud that you like it, that people like it and people are buying it, and I'm just very. I didn't do it for fame. I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for. I'm doing this because I want to realize a dream, and still in my work, whether it's a song or TV or radio show, I still want to affect change in the world. And so I feel like all the songs I've been writing, again, God's been writing through. They've been coming to me. Some a little longer than others, but they're coming to me. And my album comes out hopefully beginning of next year, end of this year. I'm trying to work on getting the album out. But all the songs are going to be on the same lines with this. Just very positive, very conscious, very woke songs that I hope to inspire people. So I know, yes, please go right ahead, do whatever you want. It's like I said, it's everywhere. You can download it everywhere, and I'd be honored if your church does something with it, or you guys do something with it. Just let me know.
I will. I'm gonna get it today. Jim.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. But again, going back to so we're untangling the slave mentality. We're untangling the again, we're dead in the water because we do see now the difference is you and I know this. A lot of things that are happening now have always been happening, but now with social media, it's more pronounced. And I was telling somebody the other day because I've always police pulling you over. That's like I'm driving while black. Sure, it's happened many times. walk by a cop car and they say, you didn't look at me, so turn around. Oh, that's happened before too. Rifles in my back at a 7-Eleven? Sure, why not? That's happening. I mean, these are things that have happened to me on a normal Sunday back in the day, that there was no cameras, there was no phones, and then we didn't have that back then. Where now that's happening, I notice a lot of young black men that I talk to, I've done talks at places, that talks you say to me, I just don't see a reason why I should try. So what do you say? So what do you say? Because your book, we're talking about the inherent power. What do you say to that?
I tell them, first of all, they have to discover come to the acceptance of the fact that they were created for purpose and born to make a difference. And I tell the kids this all the time, and with our young men, I have this face to face with them. Always go through, and we put great people under microscopes. People who have, I call them great. All of us have that. All of us are great in some dimension, but those who have realized that greatness,
yes,
at a larger dimension than others. And I tell them, James, I know you know this, that in every case where greatness materializes, it's because it is always in response to adversity or challenges or mistreatment or disenfranchisement or marginalization that preceded it. Mm-hmm. That it comes with that, but where you find struggle, it is normally because greatness has attracted it in some way. Mm-hmm. And that how you respond to that, how you respond to it, where you look, and what I like in the book, you can't always have, it's nice to have people around you that you can say, well, I'm going to ask so-and-so to help me. But at the end of the day, you have to learn that God in his infinite wisdom placed the difference in you. That you're going to have to go inside, pull it out, be intimate with that power that's in you. And that power, inherent power, is defined as a right, an inherent right that is not given to, that we don't have to ask for from someone else, but it comes with our humanity. And for us to be separated from that is for us to be alienated from our own humanity and our own potential. That inside of us, in other words, the better word for it, James, grace. That grace in us that is able to cause us to do, be, have, go, and bounce back from whatever we need to, is there. It's God's signature, his signature in our lives, saying, if I created you for a purpose, then I'm not going to blame you if I didn't provide the resources and the power for you to actualize it. My mentor, my second dad to me, my mentor was Dr. Miles Monroe, and still to this day he is. And the reason why, James, I kept, through great adversity, I kept Cornerstone Prep, which I founded in 1991, is that his last visit to me, he was getting on the jet bridge to go back to Nassau, and his wife Ruth had gone ahead of him. He turned around. I was standing there watching him. I was going till the plane left. He turned around midway on the jet bridge, came back to me, looked me dead in the face, his nose almost touching my nose, and he looked at me and was very serious. He said, whatever you do, do not get rid of this school. He had such a heart for the young people. And he knew even that even with young men of color, that even though there's inherent purpose in all of us and potential, there's also going to be some inherited struggle that would kill what's in us, James, if there weren't voices crying out like you, like myself, telling them, hey, look inside of you. Yes, all of this, it's dangerous driving while black and all of that. But how are you going to respond? Okay, I'm going to get mad, I'm going to get angry. Yeah, we know that. That's natural. That's a human emotion for all of us. But after you've done that, the Bible says, be angry and sin not. In other words, don't let the anger stop at anger. Let the anger lead to something else, to put that's going to burst something else in, that's in you, that's going to make a difference for yourself in the future and for others.
So true. It's the thing of really. I always say to my I'm a life coach. I say to my clients, talk to yourself. It's okay to talk to yourself. Have a real conversation with yourself. Because it's hard to be true to yourself sometimes. You tell yourself lies. You put up blocks for yourself. All right, have an honest talk with yourself because it really does begin and end with you. And that's why I say the song. I mean, it's like you have to be the one who has to say, I'm open to God, or whatever you want to call it, Allah, whatever you want to call it. You have to be open to, but it begins with your mindset saying, I'm open to a divine power to help me get where I need to go. So once you get that going, then you can go. You have to be the person to be open to, I want to find a path that's going to work best and live my best life. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, like you said, people love to have people around you and they can do stuff, but no, it all begins and ends with you making a commitment to yourself. And you have to find a way to get there. And sometimes you need help. There's therapists, there's life coaches, there's pastors, there's all kinds of places you can go to get the help if you may need it. And there's no problem. There's nothing wrong with getting help. Nothing wrong at all. Get the help. But even with the help, it's back to having the commitment to yourself to make your life mean something. And like I said, and share it with the world. I couldn't do. I mean, all the stuff that I do, and as the more success that I get, I just feel like I want to give out more. That's why I do speaking engagements. That's why I do this. I mean, I love giving back. I just think it's something that it's just. I've always been a community person anyway. Before all this stuff I was doing, but I think now that I have a larger platform, I love doing it. It feeds my soul.
Yes.
Right. You know, and
James, I bet you, when you really began to emerge in the various things that you're doing, was it at some point before you took those steps, or what, and process of taking those steps, weren't you having conversations with James?
well, it was funny. I always talk to myself. No, I was always talking, but I didn't listen to myself until I got to my late 30s. I was always talking, always chatter going all the time, all kinds of stuff, and some of it was good, some of it wasn't good. But I was never a person that was like horribly bad anyway. But and all my experiences, I don't regret any of them, and they all led to where I am today, of course. But I didn't listen to myself until my late 30s, and I was like, ooh, now I hear me, and I'm right. This job isn't for me anymore. These people aren't nice to me. I'm not doing what I was meant to do. And I allowed my calling to come to me. I've always admired, the talk was before, I admire people who have their calling. I admire folks who found their career. I admire blah, blah, blah. I mean, that was all the time. Until I was my late 30s, going, I wish I had one too. And I wish, why is this happening for me? It was like, James, get out of your own way. First of all, which we all do to ourselves sometimes. We're in our own way. Get out of your own way, James. And now allow God, universe, whatever you want to call it out there, folks, come into your life. And then it's like, ooh, now I really hear me. And I'm hearing what I'm saying. I'm crying. Like you said earlier, I'm crying out. I'm going, I want a career that means something. I want to be creative. I don't want the anger anymore. And like you said, I don't want to stop. If I'm angry, I want to be able to challenge something. That could be a TV program that I created, or it could be an art piece that I created, or it could be a song.
Yes.
Like, I learned that, again, I said it took me till I turned 40. It took me that long to let go of all the anger and the hurt and the resentments over the years. Because, I mean, let's just be real for a second. For us black men of a certain age, it really was hard. We did work really hard to get where we are today, and sometimes just navigating the day was hard. For some of us, I lived in South Central LA. For some of us, just leaving the house, getting to school safely, that was our challenge.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, let's just be really real about that. And around the country, there are a lot of places, the Bronx, parts of Detroit, parts of Chicago. I mean, there are times where just getting to school and not getting beat up or shot at, that was a successful day for me. You know, and that's very real for me. And then as a young parent, there were just some days, I always tell people, I always make the joke, they say, well, how's it like raising a kid? I go, well, I was young when I had the first one, so it's kind of like you just kind of in it. But I go, that first year, I didn't exhale. When she was a baby, I didn't exhale that whole first year. I was just kept thinking, she's alive, she's alive, she's alive. Then I drop it. Like, I was so like, my world became the baby. And it's like, there were times when I really was surviving, not thriving. I was surviving. Now I'm thriving, because now I got it. Isn't that funny?
Yes,
So, I mean, Like, so that's so to answer your question. No, I wasn't always. I was talking to myself all the time, but I didn't listen to my late 30s, and that's when I changed. I mean, people thought I was crazy. They were like, "It's the recession," and it's like the late. I'm like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Screw all that. I am done. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I will make the sacrifices." Which to me weren't sacrifices, but in their terms, I will make the sacrifices I need to make.
You know what? A lot of times, and I know you've discovered this, we ask questions because not because there's something we know, but there's something we know in asking a question we're going to hear.
Yes.
You just blessed me because it hit me. It hit me. And this is what okay, compassion has a fragrance, but purpose has a voice. Purpose is downloaded in us. The purpose precedes our creation. It's in us, the reason for our being. And it's when we listen to that voice in us that knows the path that we were designed to walk, that we get the awareness and get the understanding to make some of those strategic moves. When I walked away from public education, and I was told by the superintendent, he said, "Okay, name your position other than mine. It's yours."
Wow.
I heard a voice. I heard this quiet voice in me, and I'd never heard it before, James, say, "You need to start your own school."
Wow.
You need to start your own school so that no one can ever, politics or nothing else, can ever stop you from doing what you know you need to do in order for these kids to succeed.
Wow.
That voice, I walked away from the money, everything. They, like you, they called me nuts. But James, it has made all the difference in my life.
Yep. Not all money's good money, kids. Sorry, I learned that lesson. I thought my grandma used to always say that. I thought she was crazy. Well, Grandma, you're crazy. No, she's completely right. Not all money's good money. Not all positions are good positions. It's completely, for me. I like being in charge. So for me, I wanted to create my own destiny, and I like being a producer. I like that I own my radio shows. I like that I'm on television. I like that I co-produce the shows. Like I'm able to be hands-on in my own destiny. So I'm creating my legacy at the same time. No, someone else is not dictating it to me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I understand that.
You know, I called you today in a salon, and I was anxious to share. But I've learned that this has been played out today, and I'm going to be rejoicing, man, for the rest of my life. God had a gift hidden from me, bro, that I called to share. But God says, I got something I want to give to you. And I've been encouraged by this time, bro.
Oh, good.
Truly encouraged.
Thank you. Well, completely. This again, the honor is still mine. It's completely. This conversation. Like I said, I do feel like I found a brother in arms. I'm just. Like I said, our association is not over at all. This is just the beginnings of this. And I'm encouraged by that too, because because when I wake up in the morning, I wake up. I'm happy to be alive. Like, thank you God I'm alive. First of all. Some mornings a little rougher than others. Aging isn't always the best thing sometimes, and little aches and pains happen. But I'm out to bed, and I'm ready to start my day. And I always hope that I can do something that affects change on some level while I'm awake, before I go back to bed. And so you just gave me a nice smile on my face today. So this is great, because I want to connect. I just want to connect with people. I think what you do affects me. What I do affects someone else.
Call back and give you and exchange some information, because I got to this. I know that God set this up, man. In order for there's so much more I've got to do.
There's no coincidences, right? There's no coincidence.
Story,
that's right. We're meant to do some more work together and stuff. This is no coincidence. I don't believe in that at all. It's all divine intervention. I completely agree. I can talk to you forever, first of all, but I can't, because my show has to end at a certain point. But I can talk to you forever. I mean, this is just amazing. You're doing amazing stuff, and I want people. Okay, so there is a Facebook page that's devoted to you, but are there any other form? Can they find you anywhere else? Like, can they on any websites or anything?
Yeah, James, all over social media. I invite them. I love for them to check me out. Oscar Dowdell Underwood, Facebook, Oscar Underwood Twitter, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and then there's other online stuff there. You know, I love for them to check those
Okay.
different areas out.
I will definitely. I will follow you on Twitter. 'Cause I don't think I follow you on Twitter. I will follow you on Twitter for sure.
Excellent.
You'll see all my folks that are on there. We have a good time, and I do a lot of different
And
things.
I will be following you back, James.
Yes, all my stuff's positive. You're not worried about my stuff's all positive stuff, and I have a good time and everything. But I'm out there to do the work. I'm here to do the work.
Yes, sir.
And I found my calling. So I mean, and you found yours, and we're doing it. Doctor, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate it.
It's my honor. I'm sitting here as we end this conversation, man, and I'm gonna tell you something. There are times, you know it all the time, but there are times when God says, "See how much I love you."
Mm-hmm.
That's today, bruh.
Yes.
You give out so much to so many others, and you run into somebody who really gets it and giving also, and guess what? They have something to give to you.
And you know what?
I thank God for it, bruh.
And you know, and love is underrated. And I just want to tell you that I have loved this conversation. I love what you're doing.
And it's reciprocated to you. This has been a change day, man. God, this is good.
This is good. We're gonna work it out. So this number you called, would you like to give out to anybody else? That is my number. So that's my direct number. You can call this number or text me or whatever anytime. This is my number, and we'll exchange email addresses and stuff like that. But this is my number. So
you got it, buddy. You got it.
This is good.
I will be sharing information, and man, thank you for what you do. All the people that are benefiting from your passion and compassion. Thank you for being used today to help me go to the next level, the next stage, and even releasing even more of what God has given me to make a difference in the lives of others. And God bless you and your family, your grandkids, your kids, and man, James, man, God bless your parents, man. I'm glad I got to meet my brother, man.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Underwood, and we will talk soon.
Okay, son. Okay, we'll talk. Bye-bye, bro.
Bye. That was Dr. Oscar Underwood, and he's an amazing guy, and his book is called Bumblebees Can Fly. Now I won't look at bees the same way now. I'm going to be looking at them kind of funny. It's at Amazon. You can get it. It's nice price. I say you have any kids of color, men of color in your family, get the book for them. Get the book for yourself to read up on it. It's really good. You can follow us at A Lot of Help, which is on Facebook. A Lot of Help. Just go ahead and type that in. That's Lott with 2 T's, because my name. And I'm there. You can follow me at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. Like I said, my song, I'm Ready, is on everything. I have books. I have TV shows. Go to James Lott Jr., like my friend page on Facebook, and that'll lead you to everything that I do in JLJ Media and all of that. Thank you so much for listening. And we are on every Tuesday. That's right. Tuesdays are the new dates for the A Lot of Help radio podcast. And if you want to be on the show, go ahead and contact me. Anything I just told you about, you can contact me. You have something good to say, let's talk about it. Everybody have a great week and take care.